Okay, guys, we're gonna get started. Welcome back, everybody. Let me just sort out where we are here. Yeah. So, hope everybody's doing good. We started last week. We started the point of the story, which we called the turnaround, and that's where we begin to see the tremendous rise of the Chochom. Sorry, the rise of the Tam. And just like in the beginning of the story, we first heard about one of them first and then the second one. Now also, we're hearing first about the rise of the Tam, and then beginning next week, we're going to work on the decline of the Chochom. Okay? So we saw a number of things last week, and that after waiting for so long, the Tam was called to the king, and he went straight to the king, and he wanted always to just make sure that it was no one was joking, no one was mocking, but he stepped up and took advantage of the offer that was given to him. And we said it's important, that we be honest people, and we live with emunah, so that when our opportunity comes, we're ready to go, and we jump in and we do what needs to be done. And he was able to do that, as opposed to the Chochom, who right away he starts thinking, what's really going on over here? What's really behind the king calling me? What's his game over here? Why is it right? Why? Because that's the way he thinks. The Chochom is a conniving, selfish person. So that's what he sees in other people. He sees other people as they're having ulterior motives, and not having their heart on their sleeve, right? So the Tam was not like that. He just said first, quickly, just please make sure, confirm for me that this is serious and you're not making fun of me. Okay, it's serious. Then I'm going, right? And so it's this is one of the very special ideas. One of the most famous ideas that comes from the Baal Shem Tov, and that is this idea that when we see something in the world, it's meant for us to see it, and why do we see it? Because we have that same thing inside of us, right? So if you, for example, if you see people out there who are who you think are really, like, there's a few ways that people see this regularly. If you see people out there and you're like, that person is so fake. Right? Who do they think they are? I know what they're really like, and when they're not in front of everybody, they're behaving totally differently. That person is so fake, right? It's mashma probably that the person themselves has a problem with authenticity, and maybe they're not so. Maybe that's the way they are. They're one person when they're in front of other people, and they're one person when they're at home in private. Of course, we all have this to a certain extent, right? We all have this, that we're comfortable in our house and we behave in a certain way, but it should be the least amount of difference that there is in that, the better. Why? Because is Hashem with us always, or only when people we're in front of other people? Right? We should always remember there's a whole set of halachas at the beginning of Shulchan Aruch.
We should feel the same as we feel inside, outside.
Inside, outside, and inside our house, outside also. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
What was the answer?
Thank you very much.
Are you fake?
Thank you very much. Yeah, so that you're seeing something that's in you.
So when someone's pointing their finger at you.
Yeah, they got problems also. So also, what if it happens also? Some people are very bothered by a person who appears to be arrogant. So they'll be like, ugh, this guy again. Who does he think he is? He's such a Baal Gaiva, this person. They're so arrogant, right? So a person who's a person of total emunah, a person who's okay with themselves, doesn't care if somebody's arrogant. They don't care. Doesn't bother them. There's nothing to be bothered. Okay, the person's arrogant, I understand. They have their issues. There's no reason to be upset. There's no reason to talk about it, right? if we're really bothered by the trait of another person, it's likely because we suffer from the same thing. Woo, scary stuff. I'm sure we all feel, is there that one person you can think of in your mind right now who really annoys you and who you really don't like, and they grind your gears? Why? Just remember, that person is a mirror. That person is a mirror. Oh, boy. I know we're all thinking of someone. We're all thinking of somebody, and we're all imagining that, oh my gosh, I really have that problem. It's true. Yeah. Okay, let's go. So this is what happened. So we're going to keep going. We are, one second, serious. Okay, so we're at the point now. We're on page 246 in the Garden of Wisdom, 246, and we'll continue today going back and forth between the commentary of Rav Arush and Rav Kivak, and we'll pull out as much amazing stuff as we can, Emir Hashem, with the help of Hashem. So the next part says, meanwhile, so now remember the Tam was called by the king. He got into the carriage, and there was a nice new set of clothing for him, and he's on his way to go to meet the governor, right? Okay, so meanwhile, an informant sent word that the governor had behaved corruptly, so the king removed him from office. The king concluded that the governor ought to be a simple man who would govern the state with truth and uprightness, since he wouldn't know all types of clever wheeling and dealing. So the king wanted to find someone for the position, to the governor, who sent word for the Tam. It comes out that this governor is not such a good governor, and he was acting with corruption and doing all these types of things that he shouldn't do, so he's losing his post. And the king decided, I'm skipping over to 248 to the English part there now, and the king decided to make the aforementioned simple one governor, and sent his royal command that the simple one whom he was summoning was to become governor and was to travel by way of the provincial capital. Okay, so we're hold there in the English. So what's going on over here? So Rav Arush says over here, what's wrong with this leader over here? And he says, we see it in contemporary times, bottom of 246, that the world lacks honest and straightforward leaders. The whole intrinsic purpose of monarchy on earth is to crown Hashem, like King David did. That's why the Malchus Beis David, the kingdom of David, lasts forever. Right? So we have to understand that there's a whole different paradigm. Right? It seems to me that very often, even nowadays, when the King of England was crowned recently, right? So what do? They do it in a religious ceremony, right? And they hold in their system that the king really is supposed to be the embodiment and the drawing down of godly power into the world. Even they hold this, right? But it doesn't come out like that at all, right? It doesn't come out like that at all. If a person is put into such a place and they're there to exude power and to use that power for their own means in any way, right? For their own ego to raise themselves up, they crave the power, right? You already know that it's gone, right? And Mashenkein, not like if you have someone who the Malchus Beis David, right? The whole concept of kingship in Judaism, as amazingly Siyata Dishmaya with help from heaven, we're learning on our Wednesday night Chabur right now, this concept of Malchus, of kingship and kingdom. The whole concept, the whole basis of the entire thing is just being a place of reception from Hashem, and then using that only to serve the Malchus of Hashem. It's never for my own self-gratification or for my own selfish needs. It's always only to be used for the good of the Malchus, right? To serve Hashem and to serve the Malchus of Hashem, the kingdom of Hashem. So this guy got all mixed up in all these problems in the way that he was behaving, and so he got deposed. That's what happened. So let's look now. You don't have this book, but let's look into the commentary of Rav Kivak, because we're going to see something very interesting here. He says like this: Tzarich biur. Lama matzaba avlois harei nag karoi shesia latam v'nasan loy malbushim. Like, so why is he now being accused of corruption? It seemed like up until now that the king was very happy with him, right? And he was a nice guy. He sent the tam clothing to, like, a nice change of clothing. He was acting right. He was preparing the tam to come to the melech, to come to the king. What happened over here? The problem is, the governor was governing the nation, the province, whatever it is, with chachma, the wrong kind of chachma, right? Meaning what? He was using his own wisdom. He fancied that he was using his own wisdom. So what happened? V'teva hachachma shehi karucha b'taliyos v'avlos. It is the nature of chachma, of smarts, of wisdom, that it is bound up with and weaved in with mistakes and with corruption. Soon as a person starts thinking that, you know why I was put in this position? Because I am the smartest one. Everyone recognizes it, and I am put into this position. I am going to figure out, using my fantastic talents, exactly what needs to be done, and I'm going to make it all happen, right? Then you forget it. You're done. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get involved in corruption, right? Kshe'ein tam anashim mashlimim im tariyos ha'elu mechusar breira. And it happens to be that when you don't have a tam around, people just they're mashlimim with this. It means that they become complacent to this, and they say, "Okay, this is what it is. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is defining us right now." With regards to just, I'm saying, political leadership, right? Everyone, we've already accepted that something is going to be found out about the corrupt nature of all of our leaders. We're just like, I hope it's not too bad, right? Everywhere you look, nobody is without corruption, right? Nobody is without corruption, and nobody certainly is without making big mistakes, right? This is what we see. Why? Because when a person is using their own chachma, because they think that they are the source and the root of that wisdom, and that they are going to use that wisdom for the better, and they think koichi va'otzim yadi, it's my power and my strength and my chachma that is going to fix everything, that is going to run the world properly, run the country properly. Forget it. You're already on your way down, right? This is what's going to happen. And so people become complacent because there's no other choice, right? This is what they're used to, so they say this is how it has to be. This is us, right? We're just like, okay, I guess I'll vote for the I don't know, the lesser of two. I don't want to say evils, but the lesser of two chochoms, right? Because they think that in order to run the Medina, what do you have to be? A smarty pants. You have to be a smarty pants. You have to have it all figured out. You have to be the top, the source of the wisdom. And therefore, they're not. They can't escape from all these aspects of chachma. And the mistakes and the corruption and everything that comes along with it, right? So what happened over here? What happened over here? Right now we're seeing right in front of our eyes. We're seeing the rise of the tam, and the tam is for the first time being recognized. He's being put into the royal carriage, and he's being put into beautiful new, more appropriate clothing, and he's being brought to the king. People are seeing the rise of the tam, right? And now that the tam is starting to be raised up, hikiru ha'olam b'mailas tamimus. Now the people are starting to see. Now I see there's something else. The king himself is seeing the rise of tamimus. He's seeing the amazing nature of this person that is rising up. Behaving kulam, and they all understand she'ikr tikun hamalchus talui b'tamimus, that the main way that the whole country is going to be saved, the main Ikar Tikkun HaMalchus right? The rectification of the Malchus is going to be only through Tamimus. Ve'ein tzarich chachmas klal, and that we don't need these chachmas whatsoever. Not at all. What are you telling me, crazy rabbi? That I don't need to, the king doesn't have to be smart? He doesn't have to have chachmas? Yeah, I'm kind of telling you that. I'm kind of saying that. Okay, he has to be smart, but and we're going to see what's going to happen. But it's not what's needed. It's not that you need a person who is bright and knows how to figure things out, and that's not what we need at all. I know I still sound crazy, but let's see what happens. Let's see if we can figure out why I'm not going to be crazy, or maybe you'll still think I'm crazy. That's also okay. So therefore they started complaining. They see the beautiful, amazing nature of the Tam, and now they're like, oh yeah, this is what we need. And so they start complaining about the current governor. And it's teaching us that by the main lesson over here is that by all of us, by each one of us, we have this aspect of the governor inside us. What does that mean? That is leading us along with these chachmas, with this smarty pantsness, wisdom. And it's these wisdoms that are causing us to have judgments and suffering, and I can't get out of it. When the tam in each person, the aspect of simplicity, the pure simplicity and emunah of the tam rises up, Hashem helps you. Lahavir as a governor, to remove the current governor. Hashem helps us to remove these chachmas that we have, and then we can get rid finally of all those judgments I have against me and all of the suffering that's coming against me. I can say goodbye to it finally, right? So what's it like? What did I write here? Right. So what happens is we all have this. We've all experienced this before, right? So we think that we have everything figured out, and we think that we're going in the right path. Not only that, and as we're using our chachmas, because what do we not have? We don't have emunah, and we don't just rely on Hashem. So instead of just moving along and saying, okay, I'm going to try to do the right thing, I'm going to dive into Hashem, He's going to help me, and I'm always going to just try to move in the way that I see that Hashem is pushing me. I'm going to always make sure that I have siyata d'shmaya, that Hashem is helping me, and I'm going to be doing everything with emunah. I'm not afraid if I'm going to fail. I'm not afraid that I won't figure it out properly. I'm going to go. I'm do my best, and the Rebbe Hashem is going to help me. Right? This is the emunah. He doesn't have that. He's going ahead and saying, the governor, and just saying, okay, I better figure this out, I better figure that out, I better figure this out, right? And from within this, he becomes corrupt, and he starts doing because things aren't going the right way. So he has to take away even more emunah and rely more on himself, and then he makes mistakes and he has to fix them, and through fixing them he has to make things crooked. Sometimes he has to lie, sometimes he has to borrow money or do this or bribe or whatever it is to get things through. Why? Because it all becomes a big mess, because I'm just trying to fix my own mistakes, and I'm trying to navigate my own way, and only by thinking and trying to figure it out myself, as opposed to moving forward with emunah and saying, I'm going to go today and I'm going to do the right thing. And if I'm afraid it's not going to work out, or if I feel like I have to do something underhanded to get through, I'm going to say, no, I'm not stooping to that. Why? Because I'm going to do the right thing with honesty and emunah, and Hashem will take care of it. I'm not afraid if it doesn't, So this is what happens. So this is us, big time. What do? We get into these situations in our life where we're stuck in something. How do we get there? Because of this, we think, I need to get to this certain level of whatever that I want to get to. I want to show people that I am successful, and I want to be able to show people that I am that I've come from one place and gone to another place. I wanna be able to feel superior to other people, right? Subconsciously. So what do? I'm always working to try and do things in a way that, and I can even say, oh, I'm trying to do it for a good reason. But really, I know I want my names in the lights, or I want my neighbor to see what I'm doing, or I want those other people to see, right? I'm not doing it for the right reason. I'm not doing it for Hashem. I'm doing it because of my own ego. I'm doing it because of my own desires, whatever it is. And so it's all underhanded. And I start doing things in a certain way, and then I make mistakes, right? And then I have to change my pattern because of the mistake. I have to change something. And I have to make a new chachma, a new like underhanded curve into the system, right? And then if things don't go my way, maybe I have to do something that's not right now to fix it, right? And I'm falling into a hole because of my own wisdom. And what am I doing? I'm believing it, and I'm so stuck in this story that I'm creating for myself that, like this story over here, I become complacent. And I think, this is what I have to keep doing. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. A good mashal might be, by the way, I don't know if you ever have had experience personally or known someone who has a business that goes down the tubes, that fails, right? So what happens? A person starts a business, they're running a business, and they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this business, and they're putting everything into it, and they're figuring it out, and they're going whatever, and it's not doing what they thought it was going to do, and soon they realize that every single month they're losing money, and so what do? They keep going. They're too invested already in their own plan and in their own idea. Wait, no, what are you talking about? I can fix this. I have, but I cannot, God forbid, just say that I failed and move on to the next thing. I cannot, God forbid, say, you know what, this is not going right, I need to move to something else. I have to keep going in this stupid idea that I had that's not going to work, right? And so every month, the debt gets bigger, the loss gets bigger. And you have to borrow from here and you have to borrow from there. And soon what was like, a couple $1,000s has got to be tens of thousands of dollars. And soon it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I know a person who just lost a business and was caught in this exact same trap. And at the end of the day, that amount got up to $900,000. And they're stuck on the hook for it. I know another guy, we've talked about him many times over the years, who that number got up to like $4 million, right? Why? Because I just can't let go, right? I've become complacent to my own corruption, my own corrupt form of thoughts, my own corrupt way of looking at things, and my own needs to fix this, right? It's in such a situation, it's just good business advice, by the way. A person has to know when to get out. You have to know when to get out. And you have to be able to say, see, this is the thing. A person of emunah does not have that ego. And it's very easy to be able to say, you know what? I tried and I made mistakes and it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing. I'm going to see where Hashem takes me now. Cut my losses. Okay, I'm down $2,000. I'm down $10,000, $20,000. All right, I guess I got to move forward and get that debt paying back and move forward, right? Right? But, Kol Zman that you don't do that, you're like this country who became complacent to the corrupt rule of the governor. That's the governor that we have in our mind, is like this guy with the business, right? So what happens though? As soon as we say, you know what, I enough of this. I've been down the wrong path for so long. I need terminus. I need emunah. And I'm ready to trust Hashem. I'm ready to trust Hashem and to not worry about how I think I look to other people. I'm not worried about the arrogance. I'm not worried about that. I just want to do what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants, what Hashem wants. I'm going to move forward and He's going to help me. Right? So as soon as we do that, like he's saying over here, as soon as we start to see the rise of the Tam, finally, right? The simplicity rises up. Now the whole world starts seeing, the whole country starts seeing, oh, wait a second. There's something here that's amazing. And we don't need that guy anymore. In the story, this is what's happening. And then Rav Kivak is telling us, in our lives, this is what will happen if we just allow Tamimus to rise up. What will happen? Hashem will remove that governor of Chochmas, that corrupt governor out of our heads, and He will help to guide us along this path of terminus and emunah, and it's going to be amazing. That's what's going on over here. So gorgeous. Beautiful idea, right? Oy vavoy. Okay, so what happens next? Let's see. So he made the Tom the governor, and let's see what happens over here. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Let me read in English. So the king posted men at the gates of the capital city, and as soon as the simple one arrived, they were to detain him and crown him ceremonially with the title of governor. So they did. They waited there, and as soon as he came, they detained him and informed him that he had been made governor. He asked them, saying, what did he ask them again? Just promise, no leitzanis. Bli leitzanis. You're not joking. You're not mocking. Right? They answered that it was certainly not a joke, and he immediately became governor with authority and might. He immediately became governor with authority and might. Amazing. So he says over here, Rav Arush says on page 249 that King Solomon said, prior to destruction, a man's heart grows haughty, but prior to honor, there is humility. Right? Prior to honor, there is humility. So we see this happening right in the story over here. Before leading up to the rise and the honoring of the Tam is his absolute tamimus, his absolute emunah, and his absolute humility. He was the humblest guy, right? And this is what's lifting it up. This is what's lifting him up. Amazing, beautiful. Now that his fortune had turned, and a change of fortunes brings wisdom, he gained more understanding. Even so, he did not use his wisdom at all. Rather, he ruled with simplicity as at first. This is awesome. So he says over here on page 250, years of acquiring simplicity and building steadfast emunah rendered the simple one a more than worthy vessel for divine abundance and success. His flawless humility was a guarantee that honor, money, and fame would have no negative effect on him. He remained honest and simple as before. Right? Oh, this is a good part over here. This is important right now. This is important. So, this is very, very important. This is like, in my opinion, this is one of the keys to the whole story. One of the keys to the whole story is this, and we've said it in the last few classes also, is that the rise of the Tam and his success, and remember, this is us, right? Our success does not come from appointing that governor of Chochmah in our head, who's going to decide and figure everything out on our own and work through everything and keep making stupid decisions and mistakes and corrupt things, right? That's not how we're going to win. We're not going to win even from our real assumption without corruption, that I am going to figure it out how to do it in the best way. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be a good guy, and I'm going to treat my employees right, and I'm going to give tzedakah, and I'm going to be a great person and have guests and build community organizations. I'm going to do it. It's going to be great. Right? It's not going to be great. Right? Why? Because of this idea. Because I'm doing it. I think it's all my power that's going to make it happen. Right? What is the key of the Tam? Is that he spent years just living with tamimus and emunah. Just living with simplicity and faith in Hashem. Right? And he didn't allow himself to be pulled down by what other people thought about him. He didn't allow himself to be upset with what he had. He always just said, what I have is what Hashem wanted to give me. This is what Hashem wants from me right now. So when I have my one single coat that my whole household has, it's a beautiful, perfect coat for me. And when all I have to eat today is water and stale bread, it's amazing water. To me, it tastes like beer, it tastes like wine, it tastes like everything. The bread, it's like sauce, and it's like, brisket, and it tastes, it's unbelievable. Why? Because this is what Hashem wants me to have today. I'm going to take it and be thankful. Right? Total, absolute emunah and simplicity. This is the time. Whatever I have, this is what I'm supposed to have. I'll never, God forbid, be jealous of another person. Why would I be jealous of them? That Hashem's giving them what they need, and He's giving me what I need. I'm not looking at other people. I don't care what the other person has nothing to do with me. Right? This is the way that the Tam lived. And so what happened? Years of acquiring simplicity and building steadfast emunah. What did it turn him into? It turned him into a beautiful keli, a beautiful vessel. A beautiful, big, strong vessel that is ready now to receive all this light from Hashem. And this is the way that we become successful. This is the way that we grow. This is the way that we become closer, right? Is by building ourselves into a vessel. It's not figuring it out and thinking, I'll do it. It's building that emunah, the faith, and the simplicity, and the tamimus. And that he turned himself into this vessel. And now what's happening is it's being filled. It's being filled. It's being filled. Right? This is what's happening. So what do we think? What's our problem? What's one of our big problems? We have a lot of problems. But what's one of our big problems? Right? And this is the place to see it over here. Is that we think that those times when things are not so easy and we don't have a lot, we think it's the worst possible thing for us. And we think, what is wrong? Why do I only have this type of food? Why can't I afford to buy meat every day? Nobody can, I know. But why can't I afford to have really good food all the time? Why can't I afford to have new clothing? Why can't I be more successful and people get to see me? And why can't I have it? What is wrong? Something is wrong. Things are not going good. They're not going the way they should. Hashem! And you're praying to Hashem even. You're praying to Hashem, but what are you doing? Like we always say? You're telling Hashem what He's doing wrong. Right? Right? So what are we missing? We're missing the whole point of the whole story here. The whole lesson is all those things are just building blocks to help to turn me into the person I'm supposed to be. Every time I face those with emunah, it's creating my vessel. It's fashioning me and strengthening me and turning me into the person that's going to be able to, like he says over here, his flawless humility was a guarantee that honor, money, and fame would have no negative effect on him. Right? You know, if Hashem gave you all that money and all that fame and everything at that time, what would you turn into? You'd be the most arrogant, terrible person, and you'd be just like one of these clowns who becomes famous or becomes a leader, and then they find it's all, right? It's all corrupt, it's all false, it's all sheker, yeah? And it would just plummet you right down to the bottom. Instead, Hashem is giving us the opportunity to go through challenges and to face these challenges, the suffering, the difficulty, whatever it is. If we face it with emunah, it's constantly just putting another layer on that vessel, right? Just building it a little wider, a little stronger, a little better, so that at some point, Hashem's going to say, oh, you know what? This stage of your vessel is ready. Let's start filling it. And then things will start to go. And we can see this, mamish, in our lives very, very, very clearly. If you've been working on emunah and tamimus long enough, we'll see this pattern in our lives. It's unbelievable, right? It's totally amazing. You're probably looking back and thinking about it now that you've seen it. Some of us, anyway. Okay, so this is what he's telling us over here. That's what we need. Is we need the tamimus. So, 1 second. Yeah. Okay, let's see what Rav Kivek says right here now. All right, so on the same idea. So what did he do? He led the country simply with truth and uprightness, without a trace of corruption. And to rule a nation, one does not need to high intelligence and cleverness, only simplicity and uprightness. This is what we need. And this is exactly what's unfolding in the story over here, the way we just explained it. So when two would come before him with a case to be judged, he would say, you are innocent and you are guilty, in accordance with his true simplicity, without any cleverness or deception. Right? And so he acted in every manner with the quality of truth. The entire nation loved him very much. So Rav Arush says over here that is the simple one a lawyer or a judge? How does he know what's right? Did he study law? right? Did he become a judge? I think in America people get appointed to be a judge, but right? The answer is that a person who is unshakably honest and straightforward can readily discern between honesty and the lack of it. Once again, where we see in people what our own issues are. If we look and we see that everyone is deceiving, and we're always, we're always cheshed people, we're always suspecting people of being underhanded and not telling the truth. Why? Because that's the way we operate. That's why we see that in them, right? But the Tam, because he was a person of total tamimus, total simplicity, total emunah, and absolute honesty and humility. So he was able to recognize in every person whether they were telling the truth or not. He could see honesty, right? On a spiritual level. So he was able to judge a case in this way. And everybody loved him because of it. Listen to these words. He says these words very nicely. A person who is honest through and through has a keen sense of what's honest and what's not. You can feel it. You can sense it. Mamish. So, also, why is everyone so happy? Why is the nation so happy? Rav Arush says, an old folk expression says, everything goes according to the head. When the head of a state is honest, the entire nation follows suit. So he says like this, imagine you have two people who are in a dispute, and the governor rules in favor of one side. Usually, the losing side is full of anger and resentment at the judge or the arbitrator who ruled against them, right? So they get upset. One side, the losing side, gets upset at whoever's judging it, right? Because how does the judge know? Maybe he made a mistake. And even if the judge rules according to the letter of the law, if people know that he is opinionated, subjective, or not completely honest, then they won't be happy with his decisions, right? So this struck me very strong also from Rav Arush here, right? So if a person, right, you have a person who's a quote-unquote Chochom, and he's very opinionated, right? He likes to say, I don't like these guys. I don't like, you see what those guys are doing all the time, right? So then, when that person is rendering judgment, you already know this guy is upset at everybody. This guy has an opinion about every single person, right? Why would I trust that his opinion about me is valid? Someone who's always, think about this in the realm of like Lashon Hara, right? The person who's always looking at people and picking out their worst qualities, right? And he always has an opinion about everybody. He always has something to say about everybody, right? Do you feel like when that person is looking at you, if that person has to judge something by you, like you could trust them? Of course not, right? Mashen Kain, a person of tamimus and emunah and honesty, right? Honesty and humility. So what does that person do when he's sitting with a group of people? There's never Lashon Hara. Why? Because there's nothing to trigger him. He doesn't have arrogance. And so he doesn't say things about other people. He doesn't render opinions when he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's comfortable and can hold himself back from these things. It's the arrogant person, right? Remember, we always like to say that one of the worst aspects of arrogance, it doesn't always come out in the person who walks around with their nose up and the pointy shoes, right? It's not always like that. Sometimes the arrogant person is the one who strikes out at other people and who likes to make fun of or belittle other people. Why? Because the arrogant person is truthfully so broken inside that there's such a mess on the inside that by putting down other people, it allows themselves to feel better. They raise themselves up by knocking other people down, right? But what is it a sign of? That guy who's always opinionated and always talking about everything and saying all these opinions, it's a sign that inside the person's broken. There's something wrong. So this is the guy you want to trust to be a judge? The opinionated guy who's always talking about everybody? No, that's a sign that there's something wrong. There's something broken inside. He's messed up. Yeah? So the Tam came along, and everybody saw the Tam as this amazing person, and they saw that he did everything with emunah, with tamimus, and with truth and honesty. And when people saw this, when people saw such judgment being delivered, everyone accepted it. because they saw he wasn't this guy, this type of person who's always opinionated and everything, right? They saw, you know why he's able to judge like that? Because on the inside, he's a whole person. He has some level of shleimus. He has some level of emunah. He's achieved something in himself through his tamimus and pshitas, right? And this is where he's at over here. So, once again, when we have to deal with these people, if it upsets you and if it angers you, if it angers us when we see an arrogant person and we think, that guy, who does he think he is? Right? Why? Why do we think like that? Why does it upset us? Because we have the same problem. When we see someone and we think, that person, they're so fake, they're so, right? They're so, what's the word for fake? Another nice word for fake? Phony. They're a phony, this person, right? Why do we feel like that? Why does it upset us if we see that? Because we have the same thing going on inside. We're not authentic. We're not real, right? So you get to a place of emunah and tamimus, and there's nothing to be upset about. I see a person with arrogance. Okay, I'm sure he's got things to work on, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't get me angry, because I have the Ribono Shel Olam. Ribono Shel Olam is giving me exactly what I need. I don't need to look at other people. Yeah. So this is the mark of the leadership of the Tam over here. Let's see now what Rav Kivek says. Ki be'emes b'nei Adam mitiv'am oihavim yashrus utamimus. Says Rav Kivek that it's in the nature of people that we love a person who is straight and upright and beautifully simple, right? Purely simple. Ki hachachmas kruchim b'derech klal im aramois umaramois ve'avlois kanal. Why? Because we know this. We've seen this so many times already. That chachmas, when a person thinks that it's all up to my brain to figure everything out, it's gonna bring together with that all of these things that we don't want: trickery, conniving, and corruption. Right? Because what's gonna happen once again? I'm gonna make mistakes because I think it's all in my seichel to do it. And when I make my mistakes, I'm gonna try everything I can to fix them. And I'm gonna go to this side and to this side and be corrupt and bribery and everything that I'm gonna use. Right?
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah. Laurie says it becomes scrambled eggs. I like this one. This is what comes along with it. Someone who goes with their own chachma like this. Anashim choshdim boy. People are suspicious of them. Right? They're not going to so quickly go along with them. Shumashaker Murama, they're worried that he's going to lie or he's going to cheat. Therefore, they don't love this person. They don't like this person. Right? Hatam shenoig b'yashrus said, on the other hand, completely on the other hand, the Tam who behaves with yashrus, he's straight and upright. Anashim soimchim alav, people want to rely on this person. Shehu ish emes, that he's a person of truth. And people love him. Ella shehaletzanim loyagim ala tamimus. Rather, what's the problem? It's the leitzanim, those mockers, the people who love to mock. They mock tamimus, ki'ilu he tipshus, to say as if it's stupidity. But this time now, when the king is appointing him now to be a moshel, to be a position of authority. Kibla tamimus chen v'chashivos. Oh, this is the next step now. What changed now? Right? Not only are we seeing that the Tam made his vessel and built himself up as a keli, and now he's receiving the light and things are going up for him. But not only that, what about all those people that always mocked him? And they always said, he's a meshuganer, right? He's a tipesh. This guy's stupid. He's not smart. He's not a good businessman. Everyone was mocking him all the time, right? What's with those people now? What's happening now? Not only is he rising up, but tamimus in general, to the aspect of tamimus, this concept of simplicity, is now, because the king is lifting him up. Now people are seeing the chen, the beauty and the charm, and the chashivas, the tremendous importance and honor of this tremendous trait of tamimus. They're no longer looking and mocking and saying, oh, this guy is so simple. They're like, oh my gosh, what beautiful simplicity, right? Honesty, simplicity, emunah. This is what they're seeing now. And they stopped mocking him and making fun of him. And right away now, all of a sudden, just like that, this whole concept of tamimus and the Tam himself begin to find favor in the eyes of everybody. And the whole entire country is now in love with him. They all love him. Right? This is what's happening over here. Beautiful. So what happened? And he had advisors. We'll go weiter in the story. And he had advisors who were true friends. And due to his love, one of them advised him, seeing that you will certainly have to come before the king, first because he sent for you, and second because it is customary for the governors to appear before him. Thus, even though your conduct is exemplary in the way you rule the state, even so, it is the way of the king to speak in a sophisticated fashion and to speak in other languages. Thus, it would be appropriate and most befitting for you to be able to respond to the king. So it would be good that I should teach you intellectual disciplines and languages. The simple one found this acceptable, saying, why should I mind learning intellectual disciplines and languages? Immediately thought of the words of his friend, the clever one, namely, that it would be impossible for him to come to the clever one's level. And now he would be attaining the clever one's level of wisdom. Wow, amazing. So, Rav Arush says over here, page 254, the simple one never had the slightest doubt that Hashem runs the world. Right? Okay, there's a concept in Judaism we all know, we've heard it in many different ways. One of them is midah keneged midah, that the way we behave, measure for measure, the way we behave, that's how Hashem behaves with us. Another one is b'derech sha'adam hoylech ma'lichin haisai. Sorry, b'derech sha'adam roitze leilech, the way that a person wants to go, from upstairs, they lead him in that direction. They help him in that direction, right? So, what's happening over here? How is the Tam all of a sudden having this tremendous rise? We always said from the beginning, he was simple. He wasn't so smart, right? He was kind of slow and simple, but he did it with tamimus and emunah, right? And this was his whole life. He was going along like this. And now all of a sudden, he's the governor, he's leading the nation in a way that everybody's happy. And now he's going to be learning intellectual disciplines and other languages, like what? From where? This guy was not a good student, let's say. Right? So what's happening over here is that, like Rav Arush says here, this is very, very important. Because he believed that everything was Hashem. Right? The simple one never had the slightest doubt that Hashem runs the world and therefore could give him anything. So therefore, in the blink of an eye, Hashem consequently ran the simple one's life according to his level of emunah. Right? If a person, our sages teach us that Hashem leads us down the path we choose. If we choose the path of emunah, Hashem is happy to lead us down a wonderful path where the supernatural is natural. This is the problem. I think, you know how I'm going to learn a new language and how I'm going to learn intellectual disciplines and figure all this stuff out? Is because I'm going to use my big brains. And I'm going to put in effort and I'm going to practice and I'm going to study and I'm going to do all this, and then I'm going to become an intellectual. That's what we think. Right? Okay, sometimes it works, but it turns the person into a mess. Here, what happened? He wasn't so smart. How is he going to do it? Because he says, first of all, he's not looking for it. He says, I know that everything is Hashem. I know that everything that happens to me is Hashem. I know that Hashem runs the world. And He can change everything in the blink of an eye. So therefore, Hashem runs His world in that way. Hashem runs His life in that way. And in the blink of an eye, suddenly, this person became the leader of an entire part of the country. Suddenly, in a couple months, he's going to have tremendous intellectual prowess. And he's going to speak multiple languages. And he's going to be conversing with the king on intellectual things in different languages. Why? Because he believes that Hashem can do anything. And so Hashem does miraculous things for him. Hashem lifts him up and He makes the supernatural natural for him. So this is the key, Chevra. It's very hard to break free of this. It's like that guy who has the business that's going under and he can't let go. Because of his own attachment and his own ego. He can't let go. Right? Because it's all me. It's all up to me, right? But the person, if we can just divest of that, and if we can throw ourselves into emunah and live a life like this, where I'm trying to just do the things that I think Hashem puts in front of me, and I don't care what that person does. I don't care what that person does. I'm not looking to go somewhere else. Right here where I am, I'm gonna make. What do we always say? What do we always say about the Tam? I'm gonna, with the things that I have, with the things that Hashem gave me, I'm going to do good things. Right? If ever I have a time during the day when I'm starting to veer off into crazy things that I shouldn't be doing, just do something good. Do something good with the stuff that Hashem put in front of you. I'm using that, and I'm going in the way of the Ribbon Shalom. I'm going in the way of Hashem. And then Hashem says, "Oh, you're trusting me. You're taking the things I give you, and you're trusting me that they're good for you, and you're going in that way. Oh, you think that I'm miraculously running everything in the whole universe? You really believe that? I see. Oh, so I'm going to miraculously run your life for you. This is the way it goes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable."
Hashem does not, because you recognize him.
Yeah, absolutely. You live your life as if Hashem runs the world in a miraculous way, and Hashem's going to run your life miraculously. That's what he's saying.
It's also a mindset.
100%.
That's what a mind is said. It's just a belief.
Listen to this. Rav Kivek says like this: that he did everything in the country with Tamimus. Hainu she'atam his kirlatzmai. The Tam reminded himself when he reminded himself about the Chochom who said, "You'll never get to my level." He reminded himself, "Shekol hachokma shani mevin." All the wisdom that I understand, eino machmas ma'alasi. It's not because of my brain power. Rak hu matana mehamelech. Why do I have wisdom? Because it's a gift from the king. That's why I have wisdom. Right? It's a matana min hamelech. Kadei sheyuchel ledabri im hamelech. And why do I have it? In order so that I can speak to the king. Not that I should use it for my own needs and gratification. Therefore, I'm going to continue on my way right now. He just kept leading in the same Tamimistic way. He started becoming wise, right? But he didn't start to use this Chachma to run the nation. He started to use it in the way, this is what's happening in the story. He kept leading with Tamimus. And why is he getting this wisdom? Only so that he can know the king on a deeper level. He can speak to the king on a deeper level. He can connect to the king on a deeper level. That's what's going on over here, right? But this is so important, right? This is a big line for us. It's like the ridiculousness of a person who is born, like there's many people like this out there, as we know, who's born with a beautiful voice, beautiful singing voice. You know, sometimes you can have a little kid who's never had a music lesson, and they sing with tremendous, beautiful vibrato, a beautiful tone, and they're pitch perfect. They just have it. They were born with it. It's as moronic and crazy as someone who is born with such a talent taking credit for it and allowing them their ego to rise up because of this thing that they were just born with. It's like having a big ego because you have brown hair. Who cares? You have brown, that's the way Hashem made you. You want to have you want to lift up your ego and stroke your ego for that? It's craziness. So the Tam says like this. This is what he says. Any wisdom that I have, I only have it because the Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to me. It's a matana from Hashem. So I don't need to use it to show everybody how smart I am. I'm going to keep ruling the country with tamimus and emunah. And when I have a chance, if I need to use the wisdom in order to speak with the king on a deeper level, okay, that's what I'll do. This is where he's at. Okay, so what happens next? Awesome. Yeah. So Rav says like this also. This is fantastic. Once again, one of the things we said today, which is so important, so beautiful and important, is that whole first part of the Tam's life, where he's living through difficult conditions with Tamimus and Peshitas. Remember that whole first, I don't know how old he is now, 30 years, let's say, right? Is all building him up. It's building his vessel. It's turning him into someone who's strong and who can receive from the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's building him, right? So Rav Arush says over here in the way that he's still leading with simplicity, as opposed to using his newfound wisdom and status, right? He says, as we mentioned earlier, since the simple one's trait of honesty and simplicity was acquired and totally internalized before he acquired wisdom, nothing could sway him from the path of total integrity. He became, all those years, he built himself into a person of absolute integrity, honesty, simplicity, and emunah. Tamimus, pshitas, right? And emunah. This is who he became. And year after year of living in this way, he became stronger and stronger in these beautiful ideas. Right? That vessel didn't only become something that can hold light, that can hold shefa from Hashem, it also became something strong and totally internalized. Like it's unbreakable, unwavering. Right? So now, when he's in this place, it doesn't matter. He can get smart. He can receive wisdom. And the wisdom is not going to corrupt him. The wisdom is not going to be used for his own needs. He's not going to mess it up. He's only going to use the wisdom for the king and for the kingdom, and that's it. This is how someone, right, because in the beginning, right, we always said, it doesn't mean that you have to remain stupid. And you don't have any aspirations to become wise. We see in Judaism, right, we train our people to be Talmidei Chachamim. We want a lot of knowledge. We want a lot of wisdom. We want to become wise. We value wisdom in Judaism, right? But the whole point of the story, and that we're seeing right now in particular, is that it's not the wisdom of koichi v'otzim yadi, of my own power. It's not the wisdom of arrogance, of gaiva, right? And it's not the wisdom that I use for my own aggrandizement and my own gain and my own gratification. That's not the wisdom that we want, right? This is what the Tam is doing over here, and it's become part of him. Nothing is going to shake him from his simplicity and his honesty and his, if I could say, amazingness. Yep. Okay, where are we here in this one over here? Let's see. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, we're not even going to finish this section today like I thought we might. You know why? Because I'm talking too much. So, let's see. I guess, yeah, it's 57 minutes now. We'll stop here. So I guess next time we'll finish up this turnaround section of the Tam, and we'll begin the further downfall of the Chochom. Okay, any questions, comments? What do you got, Sandra?